Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Partners podcast here. Today, we're joined by the partners from Digital.
Yeah, it's Arthur Geckelman, and Arthur, we're always happy to see our partners, and especially happy to see you live in our studio. And just to get acquainted with you, because I think many of our partners don't know everyone in our partner network, just a couple words about yourself and your company.
Certainly, yeah. Thank you so much for having me here. Huge pleasure. So once again, I'm Arthur Geckelman, CEO of Digitals. We've been working with Bittrex24 as partners for just a couple of years now, mostly focusing in the Middle East, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, working with real estate agencies mostly. But my previous history is all in sales, and I've been always doing all the sales based on the Bittrex24 in CRMs. So yeah, that's where it's all coming from.
Yeah, that's great. And usually when we have this type of podcast, we talk about product and features of Bittrex24. I think today we're going to talk about business more than the product itself. We're going to talk about your field of expertise, real estate, and how Bittrex24 can be useful in this product. How can our new partners and current partners find their target audience, find their niche in our partner network. So this is going to be the area we're going to focus today.
Yeah. And 100%, I just wanted to add, a lot of our partners have been asking for this more based on, where they want to work and industry. So I think we really wanted to start out, first of all, with real estate, especially with our partner Arthur here, who has really good experience in, not just like he said, in the real estate sphere, but more of how to maybe integrate into real estate and get more sales out of Bittrex24. So that's really what we're going to be covering today. And like Alex covered as well, we want you guys to really understand that Bittrex24, we want it to be used in not just, one sphere, one industry, but it can be spread out and specifically for a specific industry. And that's why we are going to be concentrating on real estate today.
Yeah, absolutely. So to start the things, for me, real estate is a business that looks kind of old school. It's really stubborn to anything new, because in my experience, I have many friends who work in real estate. When we talk about business, it sounds a little inert to like everything that comes new. So in your opinion, how does technology change the way real estate businesses operate, and especially how they connect with their clients?
Well, that's a great question, actually. And to be honest, there are many answers to it. The main one, I would say, it's not exactly about the technology reshaping the business, but overall for example, in UAE market, it's not about the experience or technology that is winning customers. It's more about the remembering about their customers, because you have a bunch of leads coming from all over the place, from WhatsApp, from Meta, Facebook, Google Ads, website, listing platforms, and so on. And with all these bunch of information, it's really hard to focus on something. And I guess one of the main points that we propose and we show to the customers, to our real estate customers all the time, is that if you remember about your clients, you're winning the business with them. And one of the things we do a lot of trainings on the repeat activities to follow up with the customer. From time to time, we create a bunch of automations that automatically follow up. And based on the experience of past couple of years, we see from company to company, from 15 up to 25% increase in sales when you constantly follow up. Because sometimes 1 week passed, there is no response, lead is lost, and that's it. But in a month, they can buy.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I always, I've got it stuck in my memory, a research that was done like 5 years ago. Why do clients stop working with some vendors? And, 60% of them, I don't remember the exact number, but it was about 60% left because they felt lack of attention. They didn't follow up, they didn't have a second call. And on the second place was the price, but it was just like 11%. Mm-hmm. So we see how important this attention to your client really is.
Now, something that you just covered, Arthur, was you did implement basically automatic tools that remind your clients, right, of maybe how you did an integration or maybe how some tool is working. Can you maybe get into more of how you implemented automation inside of, you know, potential clients that you had, and how those repeat you know, notifications came to them and how they came back to you? How did that process work for you, and how did you get to that?
Sure. If we don't go too deep into technicalities, if you imagine just a dashboard with your customers, the Kanban view, for example, and there are a bunch of stages. So whenever we have customers that are not responding for over like 3-5 days, we allocate them in a special stage based on the requirements that they had. For example, they are looking for, let's say, 2-bedroom apartment in Palm Jumeirah with this view at this price. Most of the information was shared during the meeting, during the viewing, and so on. But then we keep some of the information that can be sent to the customer. So it's the follow-ups must not be like, hey guys, are you buying or not? Are you buying?
Exactly.
Are you ready to buy? Are you ready today? Because that's bothering, and they get bothered. Instead of this, we always propose to focus on the requirements that they had and send the information like, okay, in this apartment that we've shown to you, there is this great kids area, or there is a swimming pool that is huge with the sea view, or whatever it is. So specific features about specific requests that they had, we follow up friendly, and that's what gives the best results. So automation sends messages every few days, let's say in 5 days, then in 15 days, then in 4 days from that, and so on. So these times should be random, so they don't get the message on Monday, 10 a.m. every week.
Yes. No, I think that's something that a lot of our partners kind of need to understand as well, that following up doesn't need to be that routine of, are you going to buy now? Are you going to buy now? Are you going to buy now? You need to create a product or maybe a feature inside of your product, inside of your implementation that automatically does it. And maybe it doesn't do it so fast forward or so hard, but just a slight little push forward, a reminder, and so on. So, I mean, that's a beautiful feature that you've really implemented. And I think that's what really helps you to get your clients come back. And you, like you said, you already have some details that you already remember about the clients that are significant to the clients. So that's only going to help you, A, retain the client, and then again, bring them back. So that's wonderful. That's great to hear. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's much cheaper to work with your current client, with the current lead, than just look for a new client. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money.
Sure.
And, you know, speaking about challenges, what are, in your opinion, the biggest challenges that real estate professionals face? Because, you know, the field is truly competitive. And how do you overcome them?
True. And in many cases, companies think that their main enemy is their competitor, but actually their main enemy is the staff turnover and Google Sheets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the market is huge. There are thousands of real estate companies, and people are migrating from one company to another, Question number one that I get on every demonstration whenever we demonstrate Bittrex24 is, how safe are you guys? How can we keep our data within the company? How can we make sure that this guy is not stealing this data tomorrow and doesn't take it to the new real estate? That's the biggest challenge, and that's what we focus on in terms of implementation with the user access permissions, what they can do, what they cannot do. Recently, we have started working with the mobile application as well to deny the access to make screenshots from the device. Of course, you are not saved from taking picture of the screen of your laptop, but at least you cannot download, you cannot export it, and so on. Even worse, there is huge competition inside of every company. So it's not only that I'm competing with a different company, I'm competing with every employee in the company. Because if I work as an agent, and I see that someone is almost closing the deal and I somehow found the contact details, 99% this lead is going to be stolen.
Wow.
Every time I hear these stories, I'm like, guys, you are crazy. How can you work in this sphere?
Sure.
I mean, I think that's something where a lot of maybe our other partners aren't too used to, because the competition, of course, you have competition maybe in all spheres, right? But like you said, when you have competition inside of your own company with agents and so on, I think that's something you don't see in other spheres as much. Now, something you said, security is really big. As far as real estate goes, as far as innovation goes, as far as you try to stand out somehow, what are you doing just to stand out and just to be kind of leading innovation in the real estate sphere? Is there anything different that you are maybe doing?
Well, one of the things that I mentioned, we recently started working with the mobile applications. We never knew that you can deny the access to make the screenshots, for example, from there.
It's a pretty new feature too. I think as you go rolled out, it's pretty new. I believe,
It's like in our last release it was.
Correct. Yeah.
Besides that, the access permissions, we also always suggest to use two-factor authentication, stuff like that. So there is no magic about it. If someone wants to steal from inside of the company who has access to the leads, most probably he can take some part of it, at least. But one of the things, no, I do not have any customer who would allow agents to see all the leads. You can only see your own leads in the company, your own contacts, your own companies, nothing else. The rest is blank.
So I think that's a really big topic for access permissions, especially in such a competitive field. You can only see, if you see your potential, clients that are going to be closing deals, that are not closing deals, I think it's easier to steal them. So in that phase, security is very big here. And I think maybe a lot of our partners, they're not really making it such a big emphasis on security. And I think a lot of our partners, speaking to you guys, I think that's something you should concentrate and where Bittrex probably accelerates and does better than a lot of our other competitors too. So as Arthur said, I think that's a really good starting point and something to pitch, and definitely an innovation and where you're going to have a competitive edge as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Safety is a very key element of Bittrex 24, especially the higher the plan is, the higher the criteria for safety is. And I've never heard about like this competitiveness inside a company, like one agent can steal from another. But access rights is really important. And I remember one of our clients from the United States. He had an office in San Antonio and the other office in Atlanta, and I remember San Francisco, and he had the same problem that guys from Atlanta could steal leads from the San Francisco office, and then when other partners came and just do a perfect access rights, because you had a great example. That's the same example, like safety and access rights. The bigger the company, you need this forever. This is one of the key elements.
And again, I don't think it's better to start with maybe a company, that's small, and as start as maybe it's a couple employees, right? 10, 15 employees. I think it's good from them to really press and say, look, you need security, you need security. You need to emphasize to them and really explain to them the risks that they're taking, maybe going with someone else, or if they're not, connected to a higher plan or whatnot. And I think the more you really touch base with that, with a smaller company and with your smaller clients, then as they grow, they understand it. And then they won't be, I have to pay extra for this or I have to pay something. They understand it's a valid and very important part of the Bittrex 24 ecosystem and their business. So, that's really great that you did bring that up, Arthur. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Vlad, great point. Actually, even when we developed the property management and property inventory for the companies, because they have a bunch of properties to be sold, agencies and the managers ask to remove access to the contact details. So agents must be able to see the details about the property, the size, the area, stuff like that, pricing, but never see the contact details of the owner. So even this part is done. So agents, no matter how nice and sweet they look with their smile, all 32 of them are visible, but actually they are sharks. They're real sharks.
And speaking about something positive in this business, creating this long-term relationship, because we've talked about how we can communicate with the client, but what are, in your opinion, the best strategies to create this long-term relationship with the client in real estate business?
Awesome question. I would say it's all about loyalty, a loyalty of real estate agent to the customer. And loyalty is not just a smile. Loyalty is the schedule, is care. Whenever all the successful agents that I know, they care about the customers so much, they can come to the airport at 3 a.m., meet them with the family, take the car, take all the luggage, bring them to the apartment. They help with any money transactions, no matter what it is, crypto, whatever it is, they will help with it. And usually there are two types of customers. One type is end users, pretty much people who buy for themselves, for the families. And for them, you follow up from time to time, even after sale is done. You have to keep in touch because you kind of become their best friend. You help them with the documents, you help them to get the visa, you help them to, arrange any kind of documentation, insurance, whatever it is. Second type of customers are investors, and those are even more requesting. They need even more care, even more time, and might be a bit more weird requests. Finding the best place to party, or finding a yacht that can be taken for 2 or 3 days, or something like that. And you are supposed to be their buddy to help out and bring this to them because they will be giving you continuous business.
True.
Yeah, I remember when we talked to Luis Cordoba, he told us the same things, that to create a long-term relationship, you gotta take care of your customer. Like, we do not advise you and don't request to go all in, live together and have romantic relationships. But if you take care of your customer on a personal level, people always see it, people always feel it, and they also care about it. So to create this long-term business relationship, it's really important to have the personal connection to your client as well.
That's a really good point. Like we've covered with a lot of our partners here, I think it's very important that we don't just see our clients as clients, right?
Yeah.
We see them as just not another paycheck or whatever it is. You need to bring emotion into it. You can't fake this buddy thing. You can't fake, like Arthur said, 3 a.m. got to pick them up at the airport with the bag. You can't fake that. You actually have to have people on your team, people within your company that are ready to do that are ready actually to care for your clients. And of course, money is a factor in all ways, but I think you need to go into deals and into projects more thinking about how can I actually help this client? Yes. How can I actually help their business, help them grow their revenue, help them make more money, and in the end, that money will come back to you. And as Arthur stated, it all starts with the care. Again, if you're seeing that care, you're not going to leave that company or that partner or that product. Now, a thing I want to kind of get into is someone who kind of follows real estate, especially in the UAE market. Are you seeing any interesting trends that are coming right now, especially UAE and maybe just in real estate in general? Because I think it's something that's quickly changing and people need to adapt fast as well.
Certainly. And don't take me wrong, I don't want to sound like Google presentation today with AI, but it is AI.
Yeah.
And AI is changing the whole market, not only for real estate, but for all the companies. The problem with AI is that companies must be ready to start using it, and most of the companies are not, because before you automate things, you need to have the policies in place, you have to follow some rules, you have to fill out the data so you can teach AI to work the same way as you do or even better. And that's one of the trends that companies are now start understanding that, and they try to use different policies, different standards, different rules to be able to teach later on AI to do the same stuff. I'm 100% sure AI is not going to replace agents themselves, but maybe call center operators, 100%. We already have a couple of cases actually when AI kind of human calling to cold databases of people, finding out if they're still interested in buying, selling, trading some kind of properties or not. And they bring back the leads to the CRM system because we have like thousands of leads just laying there. They are all tired of WhatsApp campaigns. They're all tired of email campaigns, but you cannot call 10,000 people at a day. AI can. So that would be one of the trends that I see currently.
And the thing about with the AI trend, I mean, I'm sure it's big right now, but I want to ask you is, do you think it's easier for companies that have maybe already had a CRM system, maybe they've already had some sort of Bittrex 24 in place, is it easier for them to then make the integration into AI, or does that not really matter?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what kind of automation can you do based on the Google Sheet? Pretty much none. You do not have enough data to feed to machine learning to teach it to work with the information. Where now in Bittrex 24, thanks to Copilot, it allows us to fill out the details based on the phone conversation Awesome feature. People love it. Helps to create the summary of the conversation. Oh my God, it's the best. You just copy, paste, fix a bit, send to the customer. Already done. So you don't spend 20 minutes after the call on that. When we add a little bit here, a little bit there, then it kind of becomes a whole picture. So people can start using it as the final product. So yeah, certainly.
Wonderful. So I think that's something our partners need to understand as well. Maybe if a company is really ready to go to dive into AI, maybe give all their tasks over to AI, you need to explain to them, listen, you need to start making a couple of baby steps before you can maybe run in that aspect, especially if they've never had a CRM system, never had any maybe business system whatsoever.
Yeah.
The earlier you start on this business system, on your CRM system, on just your business ecosystem, you can then, as Arthur said, feed that into machine learning, and your AI will actually benefit you and not just be, a pain to you.
Yeah, as I've said in the very beginning, the whole real estate industry sounds really stubborn to anything new, and I'm really happy that AI can be useful in that area too. Because I actually had dinner with two of my friends who are who both work in real estate, and one of them already using AI, and the second one doesn't use AI, and he's super old school. And the one with AI, he's happy. He's like, my wife is at home, I'm doing my job, I have a lot of money, I have a lot of free time. The second one is like, he's already gray, he's like, I haven't seen my wife in a week, I'm working too much, too many clients. Because AI will help us to be more effective. And we in Bittrex24 have a lot of technologies that can be useful for many companies, especially in real estate. And you had great examples of what can Bittrex24 Copilot do, and we're happy to be a pioneer in this area, actually. Yeah. Also, one of the very big pain points for everyone who had connection with real estate is a lot of data, a lot of information. Us as a customer, whenever you rent an apartment, buy an apartment, build a house, a lot of paperwork, a lot of data. It's getting crazy. How do you think companies leverage data and technology to create a better customer experience for their customers, of course, and to gain the competitive edge?
That's a tough question. I would say point number one, your clients cannot wait until you figure out your Excel table. They will not wait. They will just go to the next person who already has all the data. I guess technologies are at very high point right now, and you must learn how to use it correctly. You need to be able to fill out all the data, so then segmentation starts to work, and you can pinpoint the focus of what people are interested about and what they need, what they want, and based on that, system can prepare correct email campaigns, correct WhatsApp campaigns, so you can reach out to many people with automation and still feel personal, individual in this case. So I guess that's one of the biggest things in terms of not even technology, but on how you use data and where you allocate it.
No, that's great advice. Something I think that I want to, maybe of our partners, maybe some newer partners, maybe that are getting into real estate, right? What is something that you could maybe recommend to a new partner? Maybe something that you can say that will help them out, that will make their life a little bit easier in the real estate world. What is something that you can basically recommend to them into the real estate sphere and what they can work with?
It's really hard to recommend something because I'm helping them to work, but not. It's always easy to consult someone. It's like this joke when two consultants meet each other and one is crying that, hey man, I don't have any sales, I don't know what to do, and the second one is like, oh sure, I can consult you, I can give you all the advice. He's like, I know all the advices, what do I do? So same thing here. One of the important things, you need to build the system. You need to build the system, and you should not rely on people too much. People are super important in the team, but you never want to have this one guy, this walking Wikipedia in the company who knows all the processes, all the prices, all the
Yes.
discounts, where is the mop to clean the floor and stuff like that. You never want to have this guy, because if this guy leaves, your company is done. That's why my first advice, and the only advice, I guess, build the system. That's the main point, I think.
I mean, I think that's some of the greatest recommendations I've heard, because how many times, if companies I've worked with, projects I've worked with, it's one person. You go to one person, they know all the answers, they have all the passwords, they have everything. And it's literally, that person gets sick for 5 days and the company just stops. Everyone just, what do we
taking
do?
a
How do we do? Exactly, that's it. So I think that's a really great point. I think our partners do need to concentrate on that. You need to get away from this is the boss, he knows everything, he has everything. And like Arthur said, set up the system where you can match, you can plug and play basically. Person goes out, you already have their task ready. This is the person that can adapt, and this is the person that can go ahead and take care of that task. So yeah, well, that's wonderful recommendation. Thank you for that, Arthur. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. It's really important advice. And, we've tried to add as many instruments of Bittrex24 that can help with this. It's called the boss factor, actually. Because if your colleague who is a super expert is hit by a boss tomorrow, your company is done too.
Yes.
So we've had a lot of databases in Bittrex24. A lot of information, a lot of tools are used to keep all the knowledge, all the information within the company, so we can reduce this boss factor. And actually, so every employee of your company should be an expert in their areas, but it's very dangerous to have this
narrow
Yes.
area. Exactly.
Yes, it's very dangerous to only rely to this one person, because if they are not working, you're done. Your company is not operating. It's really important that you talked with us about this. You've talked about the system and being, systematic, being very proactive with your customers. But are there any interesting examples of unconventional or even creative approach that led to good results in real estate industry?
Interesting examples. Okay, here's a story. Kind of crazy one.
And there's no NDA here.
No names.
All right.
One of my customers shared it with me. So imagine Dubai, Business Bay, skyscrapers. New request for real estate company for retail area somewhere in Business Bay, huge one. So sure, no problem. Let's have a viewing tomorrow. So tomorrow, agent comes to the retail store that is for sale, waiting for the customer. And again, Dubai, we are talking about Ferraris, Bugattis driving around, stuff like that. So he's waiting for the potential customer. Door opens and he sees the Saudi guy with the goat. And he's like, what is going on? This is totally crazy. What are you doing? So they they do the viewing, stuff like that. He starts filling out the CRM system, some kind of weirdo freak guy with the goat. I don't know what to do. His supervisor is checking out the details. He's like, we just lose the lead. That's it. We are not working with this. This is crazy. A week later, CEO finds out the story that another agency closed the guy for the whole floor of the building in the Business Bay. Can you imagine that? And that brings us to the information where our thoughts or what we think what customer is capable of is not what they really are. Yeah, sure. So whenever we fill out the information in the CRM system, we should be very careful. Sounds totally crazy, right?
Yeah.
And well, guys, I have to tell you, that was a joke. but the point is super important here.
To buy a goat for myself, It's probably the key to success.
The key of the story is that one of our customers actually decided to remove all the communication data of their agents with leads that are lost, and then allocate these leads back into lead pool. So agents can then grab again the same person, same lead, and try again, and then try again, and then try again until they win. Because every time when you see a negative comment in the lead, you are not going to be working with it. I'm in sales. I'm from sales. And whenever I see that the guy told me never call me back, that's
Bottom of the list. Bottom of the list.
exactly. You never call. So sorry about the joke, but that exactly explains why you should keep away all the negative stuff. And it actually, for our customer, it brought 20% plus sales. From the month one, when they removed all these details, they started to bring at least 2 sales from these lost leads. 2 sales every month and increasing. So I guess that's one of the kind of weird examples, but
And I think that's something we always cover on our partner podcast here. It's always easier and it's always cheaper to work with the lead that you have or client that you do have. So it's a good way. Okay, you do have the human factor of maybe this person came up to this and it didn't work out, but then maybe another agent tries it, and maybe it's a woman. Maybe it's a woman that tries it. Different psychology goes through it, and maybe they close the deal. So that lead funneling back into the pool of leads is actually a very, very good system, and it's a good example of innovation that we've seen really from you and some of our partners as well. Is there any other things, like when you get up in the morning, right? Is there things that you want to change in real estate? Maybe some other innovations that kind of drive you to say, listen, I want to get better today and I want to do this because of this, especially in real estate.
Well, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I guess from my personal motivation, because I myself am coming from the sales, and I used to work in real estate company in Dubai back in 2014. So I kind of feel these people. I feel that they have same challenges that I used to have, and my main goal is to help them out with sales. And we are not trying to work as the system integrator. We are trying to work as the deal makers. We help companies to close deals as many as possible. And to be able to do that, we help with a bunch of different automations, with a bunch of different things. And the key point, I guess, from the technology perspective is integrating all in one place. So you have one window, and that's where you want to see it and do. You can see all your properties, all the off-plan projects that you're working with, all the details about the customer, all the communication, your phone, your WhatsApp, your email, all in one place. So you're focused, because whenever you get unfocused, whatever interruption is happening, you're out of work for at least half an hour. Even if it was a small SMS message, you're out. And that's why I want to make sure that we keep focus of our customers in here, in one place.
That's really good. I mean, it's really nice that you do come from the fact of just the history of understanding your clients. And I think a lot of our partners need to understand that as well. Our clients do have pain points, where we can push and we can sell to them, but also we need to understand them from a human level, right? How can we actually help you fix this problem, especially in real estate? The big problem is you want to buy something that, you're going to live there with your family, with your kids and with your wife and so on. So when you integrate a product that helps your clients and then that helps their potential buyers to, buy something or close a deal in real estate, I think the emotions that, you get is a plus. And it's not, like we said, I come back to, it's not always about money. It's always simple to say that. But from all the partners we really speak to, Arthur included, when you see that they have this really nice, simple feel and they understand that the clients are not just money, you see much more and better results. So I think that our partners do need to work on the human factor of, listen, guys, we're here to solve problems. We want to innovate, and we're going to build a product and integration that's going to help you do that.
Sure, yeah. I totally agree with you, and that's nice that you both talked about it, because the customer, they don't need Bittrex24 itself. Bittrex24 is just a tool. They all have problems, they all have pain points, and it's our partner's job to explain that Bittrex24 can be the solution, and they need the solution. They want these pain points to be gone, they want a better business, a better life, and Bittrex24 can help with them. And I'm really happy that you just was focusing on that one, that it's important to sell the results, and it's also important to create the sense of joy for your customer that they got the results, but the process was also amazing. I agree with you.
Yeah, one of the small, tiny things that we do with many of our customers, we create a field in the CRM system saying like personal details, and it's not like their name, surname, or something like that. It's their kids' names, their dog name, whatever it is. Some small details that we'll forget 100% because we have hundreds of customers, hundreds of leads calling every time. But when we have these little things that we remember about, like you were going to bring your cat. So I found out that Emirates can help you with that, but this airline is not going to be helpful.
I mean, perfect.
Of course, this person will come back to me and talk about the property later on, or about pet-friendly community, for example, and so on. So these little tiny things, by kind of boring technology as a CRM system, people don't like filling out the details, but when they do, they remember, and that takes us to the beginning of conversation. When we remember about our customers, we do sales.
Yeah, 100%.
And how do you think, because this is a really interesting point that we're talking about very personal information. Do you think it's relatable in any business, or real estate is like a special industry where this can be helpful, or this advice can be really universal to all fields?
I would say it's universal, 100% universal. Any type of business, I do cybersecurity, and those are fully technical type of guys, you know. And you still need to find something personal. If they play any video games, if they are watching football or whatever it is, like you find out some details, some personal things, and you connect on them. And this connection, that's what builds trust between you and customer, and helps you to kind of befriend. And they open up and they can share more.
Yeah. And a point here that you did cover, guys, we cannot stress this enough. More information in the CRM fields. All the information you can get, everything. Add a new field, add it into the CRM card, make sure it goes in there. More information you have, you're building the foundation for you then to AI go ahead and take over the work as well. We're not replacing anyone with AI. We're making sure AI works better with your team members as well. So like, I know we say this a lot in every podcast, fill out as much information in that CRM as you can. It will only help you down the line.
Yeah, this is advice that we should repeat, because it's like an inception, you know, we gotta forget, we can't forget about it. We gotta remember this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were right. It's not about replacing someone. It's about helping to work without any routine, because AI helps us to get rid of routine and get better in being personalized, stuff like that. Yes, but all the routine stuff should be managed by AI, 100%.
That's also what we basically repeat on every podcast whenever we talk about AI.
That's true.
All right, Artur, I think it's our time for today. You know, if we had chance, I think we could continue for hours and hours. Maybe we should do one more podcast. Sure. So thank you for your time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
And I think it's going to be a wrap for today, unfortunately.
Yeah. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. And again, catch us on the next Bitrix 24 Partners podcast. See you later, guys.
Thank you so much.